Welcome back to Demo Mondays. Demo Mondays is video series where I invite different Amazon seller software creators and I ask them to present their products just like this on the screen. And today my guest is AMZ Jet. And AMZ Jet is presented by Yev Morusenko. Hello, Yev.
Hello, great to be here. Excited to share this.
Cool. So, Yev, please tell us what is AMZ Jet and how does it help Amazon sellers?
AMZ Jet, it's a newer tool where it helps track keyword rank, but it's different than all of the other trackers because it can do it regionally. So you can see your keyword search result position on Amazon and look how it is based on US states and then make decisions based on that. There's some unique features relevant for geo-ranking.
So usually the next two questions are for what kind of Amazon sellers and what marketplaces is your tool, but you kind of already answered that it is mainly for, well, only for the US market, right?
For now, yes, and this is very, very new, but it's fairly easy to make it in other places. So if enough sellers are requesting it, then we'll launch it in other marketplaces as well. And for the sellers, this depends on, do you use keyword tracking? And if you do, beginners, intermediate, advanced sellers use it for different purposes. So if you do it, then you would use this as well for those purposes. You would just have more insight because there's more breakdown rather than having just one rank value for your product. You would now see it across regionally. So we'll talk about later about how beginners versus advanced sellers could use this.
I think there is no later, so let's talk now. Let's see how your software looks like, how it works like, and yeah, let's do it.
All right, AMZ Jet. So let me go directly into the app, and you see the data multiple different ways. So here's the map with the ranking of the states. If you want to look at it visually in terms of the map, or if you want to look at over time, you can track as well and look at the keyword rank position, or as a table, and then you can sort it in different ways, some of the relevant metrics that we have. So it's the rank position. Now, when we're talking about how beginners are using this or advanced sellers are using this and some of the features, the really common question I get is what do you do with this data? And this is fairly new, just several weeks ago launched this, so if you're watching this video later, then the features might be a little bit different and updated because every few days we're adding a new feature, a new metric, because we're getting really interesting insights how you can leverage this data. But basically, once you know how your rank is in different states, you have better insight either what's happening with your inventory or if you can actually leverage marketing to try to affect ranking. And this is where it gets really interesting, and we have to think about how does the Amazon algorithm work, how does Amazon optimize their website, whether they're doing conversion rate optimization to actually get Amazon customers to make sure they're showing purchases. Do they show different results depending on which state and which region you're coming from? So then this will give you better insight on that. I'm going to jump around different examples here. So let's say we're looking at a state and you put in the keyword, and so you put in the keyword and then you put in the ASIN, so just like any other keyword tracker, but then you see the breakdown. So I'm doing an example where it's kids placemats, and we're talking about one of these brands a lot, and a popular brand like Munchkin. You can look at competitors too where this doesn't require an Amazon connection. Let's look at over time, and you would think that if you search for kids placemat, baby placemat for girls or things like that, and then Munchkin is going to come up as the #1 spot, whether you're searching it manually or you use other tools. But when you look at that data a little bit further, we actually see that it's not ranked #1 everywhere. So that's the first interesting part, where it's actually weaker in some states. So let's just break down the scale a little bit so we can see the differences. So this is ranked from #1 over time. We've tracked this historically, and some states we can see that are consistently ranking lower. So whether this state, it's not always ranked #1, as we see for the average or the medium. So pretty much all or most states are rank #1, but there are some that are ranking less than that, and some consistently over time. So we have to look for these patterns, and we see that in the map too, where immediately a state is in there. So what do you do with this data? And different if you're a beginner or advanced. So let's say if you're if this is your own brand, where you look at this ranks and you see that a certain state has lower rank than the other states, you could do a few things. Let me go into this other map actually, where you check the rank and you see that there's a bunch of states that aren't ranked just like all of the other ones. So what you could do is save your resources in a way where if you're doing external marketing and you want to focus the ads to the states where you know you have inventory, jumping into another window where this would require an Amazon connection, but this is totally optional, where you could see the inventory across different warehouse locations. So now you can sort it, see what's in transfer, but what's in the different areas. So if you know when you're shipping inventory to Amazon, depending on how you do it, there's a couple of options, and if it's seller fulfilled or FBA, but you send it to Amazon and Amazon distributes it to different warehouses. And depending if you send in 100 units or 10,000 units, it's going to go in all kinds of different warehouses. So you would know where you have a lot more units. And if there's not a lot of units on the East Coast, let's say, then some states or regions, it's going to take longer to receive that inventory. It might not be one day, it might be 2 or 3 days away to get that inventory. So Amazon might want to rank other brands, other products higher just because that inventory is further, and because Amazon can just put another brand to make the customer happier. So knowing the inventory, you can start relating to this data as well. So let's look at this example where some states that are consistently lower, whether it's Wisconsin, Virginia, North Carolina, other ones, we can see that in the map. One of the things, if you sort by variation, that means how flexible is it over time, or how variable. That means there might be higher chance of losing rank for that state. So we see that's only in a few states where that variability is higher, and it's exactly those ones that were lower, the North Carolina, Virginia, other ones, other states, and some are high volume states or high population states as well, while some states are a lot more stable. So so here's 2 things you can do. One is making sure that you're doing external marketing, whether it's Facebook ads or Google ads or other advertising platforms where you can actually select the region. Make sure it's to states where you have high inventory. Because if you're running ads just automatically, then you're going to be wasting budget where you're like really far from the warehouses. So you're just might have rank drop. So if you want to be really careful with your budget, then only target certain states where 100% you know that the inventory is like right there, or it's within 1 day away, from shipping. So that's one thing, and that could be for beginners because you actually have a smaller budget, or you have way too many things to do, but you want to like save your resources. Then exclude some of the states. If you're advanced, this could actually be really interesting, where if you look at all of the states and you see some states you're ranking lower. So trying to go California from #3 spot to #2 spot is going to be pretty hard, or some popular states kind of just moving up 1 spot if you're already in the top 5. But let's say you find a state where you're like, oh, you're actually ranked #12, or it's more variable. That may be a low-hanging fruit. So you actually try to do more marketing in that region. So Amazon sees whether it's influx of sales from your targeting. So then Amazon, based on their own algorithms, either there's behavioral geo ranking, meaning that they're going to try to show ads that are more relevant for the type of audience in that state, because there's different demographics and psychologies between if someone is in Washington State compared to Arizona, depending on climates and other reasons. Or because Amazon sees that there's sales, and they're going to know to make sure that during Amazon's transfer of inventory across warehouses, that there's going to be inventory in those regions. So it could be like a low-hanging fruit to try to increase rank there. And this is if this is your brand, if you're looking at this type of data. But let's say you're looking at this data and it's another brand, it's a competitor. So then what you can do is find the states where there's more variability, and it's how we looked at before, where where there's the most variation. Over time, which ones are more consistently ranking lower. So then that might be where you could leapfrog your competitor. Find those kind of like the large, where there's actually the smallest gaps in rank between the competitor and you, and try to advertise there. So you could, you have an advantage there. You might not catch them in California or other top selling states, but you can catch them in these other states. So that's overall what it is. You can look at inventory, check rank over time, and this is fairly new. There's a lot of experimentation I'm seeing in how you can try to take advantage of this. And then another question I get, can you do anything on Amazon to optimize this? Not just sending more inventory, because that can potentially help so you have more inventory everywhere, or doing external marketing. But one of the things is that we don't know this exactly right now because the features aren't there. There's a lot of dialogue and communication, people saying that Amazon internally weighs regionally, depending whether it's on price or PPC, that some confidently say that it's definitely happening. And even hearing from Amazon or different sources that regionally it's an important factor of how they're showing it. But we can't control it, right? Like we can't go into our Amazon listing and say, show this version of the listing or this title, this regionally or somewhere else. Whether it'll happen in the future or not, it'll be really interesting. Then this tool will make even more sense for that. But some of the things you can do if you're using Amazon DSP, so that version of Amazon ads, you can actually target regions there. So if you can target regions there, that's a newer program, then that already is a sign that Amazon is really thinking about regions and is giving the options for regional targeting. So it may happen really soon. By the time some of you are watching the video or the replay of this, there may be other features that allow you to put even more importance into regional targeting. Those are the main features. It's actually fairly simple. It's a keyword rank tracker, but now with a lot more insight we didn't have before to try to get really strategic about regions. Another question I get is that taking action on some of the things I was saying, whether it's marketing, sending more inventory. Another part is really common is that just having the insight, when you're following your rank overall, sometimes you have like a drop, right? There's like these fluctuations and then you start going crazy. It's like, all right, what's happening with my product, with my brand? So this will give you a little bit more insight, whether it's a little bit peace of mind or just better insight what's happening to your brand. Is it dropping in all state, only certain regions? So it's going to give you some insight to make you more comfortable knowing what's happening, or you'll see some of the fluctuations earlier compared to if you see it across all of the states.
All right, so very interesting, unique tool. I'm happy to demo unique solutions. And you mentioned that all the time you're updating with new features, and I see one of the tabs on your browser is a roadmap, AMZJet. So can you reveal us some ideas what you're gonna implement in the near future for your tool?
Yeah, I will. So there's, so far, it's relatively early, so I'm glad you're showing this, that it's unique, it's new, and we're already, based on feedback, releasing new things that just sellers don't see out there in other tools, but it's providing unique insight. So even something like inventory, we just added that. We had that on the roadmap for 3 months later, but people were saying it, so like we were able to implement it. So that's where you have the inventory insights. And soon we're going to be adding. So this is on the roadmap. Actually, let me go into here. So some of the things that we launched is we want to put importance into different metrics. So even though there's going to be improvements on the search experience and looking at the data, but actually giving you unique metrics and insights of how to interpret the data and how to see the data better to find patterns. So you know what to do, because as soon as you have more keywords, more ASINs, more competitors, then there's going to be tons of data, right? I'm showing you examples where like I clearly see differences, but you can easily go into other products. Let me look at change the scale, where there's like already so much data. So what are the main patterns that are coming out from that? So we want to show different metrics such as patterns and variability or moving averages. And one of the things down here, we have marketing recommendations. So this is going to be really cool one and fairly easy to do, but it'll just take a lot of data power, is that if you put in a certain ASIN and a certain keyword, and then you're looking at your brand or a competitor's brand, you're looking at the data. But one of the things we're going to do is automatically search for everything related to that. So as soon as you put in kids placemat, there's relevant keywords to that, whether it's baby placemats or kids placemats for boys. There's a lot of long tail versions of this, and then there's a lot of related ASINs. So what we're going to do is automatically analyze other keywords, not just the one that you're intentionally searching for. And then we're going to look at not just your data, but competitors' data, all kinds of ASIN, and find patterns where there's basically opportunities for you to rank higher. What I mean by that is manually we're looking at this and we see that, oh, like Virginia, Kentucky, there's all of these states opportunities where there's more variability. So either you have more chance of losing rank or you have more chance of catching up a competitor if this is their data. So we're going to look at a lot of data at the same time and then tell you where actually look at this other keyword and this ASIN and competitor where you have a higher chance of ranking there as opposed to the one that maybe you thought that you want to be ranking for. So it's just to give you ideas. So that's different metrics related ones that are going to be really interesting and I think helpful to condense and summarize a lot of the data that is being shown. Another one is integrating this with other types of data. And we already done the inventory part. Another one, I'm actually going to jump into different software because we have the data in there, but it's really useful is that, so this is also a dashboard, so brand that we're working with and showing a case study, but you can see regional sales. So this is sales data. It's also regional, but one of the things is if you start correlating the rank data with inventory data, sales data, and other metrics, you can start getting idea when you're taking action, does it actually make a difference or not? Meaning you send in more inventory, does that actually give you more sales just by sending more inventory? Or if you're doing marketing to a certain state, but also if you compare certain states, knowing what is the affinity of customers from purchasing from you compared to other brands. So this is a metric that we have. We want to integrate this into AMZ Jet is how do sales in one state compare to other Amazon sellers? So this is some of the data we have from our other software is basically looking at something if it's like a positive, like a really positive different sales that you're getting, then you want to advertise even more there because the customers in that region, whether it's psychologically or culturally or socially in that region, they like your product or brand more or unique features that solves the problem. So we want to integrate those types of features in there. So that's on the roadmap as well.
Great. So let's talk about the pricing. How do you price? I have no idea. Maybe per product, per ASIN, or per searches?
It's per search. So basically, that's what we're paying for internally. It's a bit expensive. Maybe why other software haven't done this, or they just haven't thought of actually like showing this data, or didn't see that many differences before. But it's basically for search. There is a free plan, and it's free forever. It's just very limited usage. You get the full features, and you're able to see how it works and look at your data. But it's just you can just do a couple of searches per month. So that's what it is. And then there's also a trial version on any of the plans. But the plans scale with amount of ASINs that you're putting in there. So basically, and amount of keywords that you're searching. So the more searches you do, then the plan changes based on that. And because this is like so new right now, like the pricing itself may change. We're looking at how sellers are using it, but it's with the amount of usage. And there's a couple of upgraded features you can do other than just this main part where you see the rank by state. One of the things is that you can look at, again, this is getting really into the details, is you can look at some of the decimal places in the data. What that means is when you're looking at the rank, I'm sharing the screen again, where it's not just like a rank of 1 or a rank of 2. You could see even further whether it's 2.5 or 2.0. And some brands, it's actually important because if you're ranked number 4 versus number 5, it's important to know, like if you're trying to catch that number 4th spot, are you ranked 5.9 or or 5.1. So it's like, how much more effort do you need to put to catch that fourth one? So it's because it's averaging all of this data across different states, you know that rank position even better. And also, another part of the upgrade is you can have just searching for more ASINs per every keyword, because it's actually just, it's more data for every single ASIN that you're putting in and every different keyword. So those are some of the upgrades in there, but the pricing is based on amount of keywords that you're searching.
All right, cool. So if someone has questions pre-sale or during the subscription, what's the best way to contact support?
The best way is at support@amzjet.com. Also, for this software, and this is from our experience from having Zon Tracker, and then this kind of integrated with this, is that we want to make this one where it's as little support as required, because it's a keyword rank tracker, so it should be very basic. And right now we're trying to upgrade it where it's very self-explanatory, and there's no setup. You just go in and use it. And also there's support in our Facebook group, and then that has Zon Tracker, or if you search for AMZ Jet, the Facebook group will come up in there, so you can see case studies and how people are using it in there too.
Perfect. And final question, do you have any offer for Demo Mondays viewers?
Yeah, we do. If you put Demo Mondays as the coupon code on the offer, you'll get a special deal. So that's gonna
15%?
Yep, that's correct.
Yeah, okay, cool. And Demo Mondays all capitalized is okay, is it okay?
Any version, any capitalization, one word, Demo Mondays.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Yev, and good luck in your business. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.